boys and girls. This is part 2 of my videos for the How Water Changes the Land assignment. So, first, pause, talk to someone near you if you can, and think, what happened to the cornmeal hills when water fell on them? Now here's a picture of one example of what might have happened. The water fell and it broke the rocks. Water can break rocks and sand down and wash them away. When that happens, it's called erosion. Erosion is the word for when water breaks rocks and sand and washes it away. Say that word to yourself a couple times to get used to using the word. Erosion. Let's keep going. Now, we talked a lot about what happened to the sand, or the cornmeal sand, but look at the water. Compare the color of the water in the cup to the water on the plate. Why did the water change color? Before we do that page. Now, you were probably thinking that the water changed color because when it washed through the cornmeal hill, it picked up little bits of cornmeal and carried them along with it. That's part of the erosion process. As I said before, it washes the bits of sand away. So when it washes the sand, or in this case the yellow cornmeal, it changes the color of the water because of all the little bits in it. Now, we know the Strange River is blue at its source. Something must be turning the water brown partway down the river. Let's go to the middle of the river. Maybe we can find out what's changing its color. Here's the middle of the Strange River. It isn't blue anymore. It's blue-ish, but it's kind of a brownish blue now. Do you see anything here that could change the color of the river? Look at the ground right here in the pink box. Do you see any evidence that rain has eroded sand from the hill down into the river? In a moment I'll press play and a line will go down the hill. It's going to show where the rain eroded sand down the hill into the river. See, there it goes. That's the path the water took when it eroded sand off of this hill and carried it down to the river. Now take a look around the rest of this picture. Do you see other places where erosion has happened? When I press play, you're going to see lots of tiny canyons. When it rains, water erodes the sand from the tiny canyons and carries it into the Strange River. This happens for miles and miles along the middle of the Strange River. So here we go. See? Water makes that tiny canyon and that tiny canyon. And here's one over here. Lots and lots of these tiny canyons carrying sand down the hill into the Strange River. Here's a picture from farther down the Strange River. The river is always eroding sand and rocks and carrying them away, even when it isn't raining. Here, the Strange River is eroding a new canyon into the ground. See the canyon edge? Eventually, so much sand erodes into the river that it looks like this. So now, in a moment, you're going to open up your jam. I've added those details from before about labeling the mountains and the source of the river in the mountains. Remember, the Missouri River, the blue one, is on this side, and the Strange River is on this side. You're going to need to draw some of those erosion lines like we saw into the middle of the Strange River. Those lines are going to show the little canyons and sand and rocks eroding down into the river. In fact, we'll add a label, eroding sand and rocks, so that people know what those lines mean. Then you're going to need to color code the river. You'll need to color it to show that it's sandy when you get to these lines and further down. You might use, well, you're going to use the tools in the jam, not crayons or colored pencils, because you're doing this for this activity online. So, after you've added those details to your jam, the little canyons that erode the sand and carry it into the river, and then colored the rivers to show the nice blue Missouri River, very clean, no eroded sand in that one, or very little anyway. And then this one that starts off blue, but turns brown where the sand erodes into it until they meet and go out to the mouth at the end of the river. Okay, so that's all for now. It's time for you to go work on your jam. If you forget what you're supposed to do, you can always come back and play this ending part of the video, or come to office hours and I'll help you out. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video.